Good afternoon.
Hello,
And
hello.
hello to anybody watching streaming, which is most of you. I think there's about 100 people who watch this stream.
Yeah,
The rest of them were live. Used to be the other way around. I remember, years ago we used to do this on Zoom, and we had a pretty good group going there.
yep, yep. Kind of
Um,
missed some of the feedback and the chat.
yeah, I missed the talking. It was more like a peer group back then.
Yeah,
But anyways, here we are. This is what we refer to as our fourth quarter warning.
oh,
You're in September, and so people are like, I got time. It's still warm out. It's still vacation months. Wait, no, school has started. We're very much into school.
yep.
We're very much into the swing of things. And so September, October. This is about all you got, people.
Hmm.
I was just talking to a prospect, or I should say, a new member, and they were talking about how all the holidays are about to hit, so they don't know how much time they have left. I'm like, you know what? You're wiser than most people
That's right.
because you get to September and it's just this false sense of security.
Yeah,
You
it's
think
not.
you have time, but then,
Mhm.
and let's really look at it, people. Let's say you don't celebrate Halloween, you don't celebrate like any of the minor holidays. Well, you've still got, and your clients have,
Yes.
Thanksgiving coming up,
Mhm.
and Christmas is right after that, about 4 weeks after that. And some people tend to merge their Christmases together and Thanksgiving. Some people delay them. Some people have them on opposite weekends. And so your clients are all over the place.
Yes.
You're all over the place. Your employees are trying to coordinate these things. And so really you need to have your budgets and everything committed by the end of October.
Yeah.
And I'm not exaggerating here. Like when I
Not
was
at
in the
all.
corporate world, you had until October to start
Yep.
getting things done.
And it's a challenging spot. So summer is its crazy thing altogether, and then whether it's people getting back to school or just the routine getting kind of normalized out across everybody, we get into September and we get this spot like, okay, now I can get some stuff done. All right. And we tend to think pretty practically and near term.
Yep.
But if we don't realize it and don't really consider it, the things that you need to get done right now are later down the road. They're the annual events that we need to be having. It's really setting the stage for 2026. So you're thinking in the next week, the next 2 weeks worth of activities, and that is correct. But in that, you need to be doing your year end and year starting activities with getting those things on track and signed off. I was working with one of our members just yesterday, and they're scheduling a key stakeholder interview, right? And we're always talking about those, and been working with them on that. And the hardest part about getting this key stakeholder interview is getting the date on the calendar. The client's already said, we've already, done the little, hey, this is what we want to do. The client's like, yeah, that sounds great. I'm looking forward to it. And then it's been this back and forth on emails trying to get an actual date and time. So we all know those challenges. You need to start focusing on that right now.
Yep. And this is what we do in the corporate world, but like in the MSP world, it's been weird. Like I know for a fact, come November, we're going to get a bunch of you going, oh crap, I meant to do QBR software earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you should have done it in January, but now you're panicking.
Okay, it's all right. We'll help.
You're panicking. I'm happy to help you here, but imagine if you'd gotten this kicked off in January.
Yep.
You could have been generating revenue this whole year, but now you're up against the gun. How many other projects did you wait until now to do? And every year we talk about this on this community update is, why are you waiting so long to do anything? And it's because we only do things when they're urgent. And that's why you stay in firefighting mode.
So this is kind of based on a couple of calls that I've had recently. And it's something that we acknowledge, but maybe we need to think about it a bit more. So this idea of having a key stakeholder interview or any sort of kind of strategy, business driven sort of conversation is challenging for a few different reasons.
Yep.
And and sometimes it's just, you know, you got technical people that you have tasked with taking these leads, and that's just something they haven't done. That's a fairly easy fix. It's more often, though, I think, the perception of your clients, and they are looking at you as they're tech people. They're tech guys and girls, right? And they trust you to do that. You're doing a great job, but this business focused budgeting in a non-sales sort of format is just not the type of conversation that you've had before. And it's just awkward. It's weird. Your clients look at you and go, you want to do what now? And it's confusing. And then if you're personally kind of, you know, new or maybe a little uncomfortable with that, it just gets even more awkward. So, you know, reach out to us. We've got lots of stuff on YouTube. We're happy to help out in any ways. But my single best advice that I can give on getting these started is to get them started. All right.
Just do it.
Acknowledge the awkwardness or something. There are tons of ways that you can spin this. It's not a spin. It's just the way you can set it up. With the year end, though, we have some good narratives that you can kick off here. You know, we're wrapping up the year. We're really, you know, growing our business. We want to be more of a partner with you and not just a tech fix-it company. So we're wanting to kind of take assessment of how this year has gone and then really start laying the foundation for a strong year next year. And to do this, we need to understand more about your business so we can serve you better. All right. That right there is take that, you know, jumble the words around, make it your own. But those concepts right there are easy conversations to have. All right. Trust me, start with the perspective of, hey, we're going to be better. All right. You're not saying, hey, we realize we haven't done anything strategic with your organization. No, that's not the approach. You're talking to your client and go, look, we're doing a great job on the tech, but I want to do even more for you. And that growth is going to be welcomed by your clients. They're not going to be looking at you, judging you because you're trying to do a better job. No, not at all. All right. They're going to appreciate your effort, and just start it with that. Be open and upfront about it. We have some new plans. We're not just shooting from the hip with you guys and just, you know, closing tickets and answering phone calls. We're actually planning and managing how to help you with your technology. And we want to make sure that plan is the most benefit to your business. Right? Those are easy ideas to throw out there, and one thing will lead to another. All right. If you have to trust me on one thing, trust me on this. Once you get your client started talking about their business, things will break open. All right. You might not have an immediate win right then. Many times you will, but it's not a guarantee. But once you get those conversations flowing, they build into a pipeline, much like a sales funnel. All right. You know, there's some really, really competent salespeople out there. I've seen them, admired them. I'm not one of them. And I've seen them build their funnel. All right. They're working on things in January that don't close until December. All right. But they're working on them. And your strategic conversations are going to follow similar threads. So start that ball rolling right now.
Right now. Yeah. And I just wanted to show here. I was just pulling this up off to the side. Stay, don't go. I pushed the wrong button. The share button and the leave stream button look very similar. So let me share the entire screen over here. And what you're going to see is, you know, maybe we need to publish something, Skip, where we say, hey, here's how to do an annual wrap up for the year.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So if we go over here and we send, like, this is the weekly tech update. Really, all you're going to do for an annual one here is maybe have like a recommendations, like all the projects you completed for this year and the recommendations for next year.
Yep.
Maybe some results based stuff in there, and then go through and send this to all your clients. And maybe have a little video over here to the right that does your like predictions and then your wrap up for next year. Put it on YouTube and then share it right here. That way, all your clients feel like they got a personalized note. So use this for a week, an annual update, a wrap up. You can send this out in October, but before you do that, you should probably build a budget view over here to deliver them a nice feeling like what are our operational costs. Like here's my 2023 budget one.
Mhm.
Hey, here's the budget. Here's the projects coming up. Here's all the assets that are going to expire. We really need to talk through with you all of this stuff and just have your things in. And I've got a little personalized video here explaining why the budget's important.
Yep.
And so you make this video generic one. You put a couple widgets in here that are showing your live stuff inside your PSA that is going on and forecasting. If you need to tweak this, just go over here and say, hey, look, if you want to tweak, let's do a budget session together where we're talking through this. And this needs to be done before the end of October, people.
Yes.
Which means you have to schedule them now. You need to send this email now saying, hey, I need to review these budgetary items with you. When's a good time in October to get this done? And so you can come through and you can start simplifying the budget so everything looks better. Look, I got a bunch of duplicates in here, a bunch of unnecessary expenses in here. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those. I can see a couple down here still. Getting rid of them. I'm simplifying my life.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to come over here to the budget and I'm going to say, oh, look, we've trimmed up the budget. And do a little video like that. It's like, I need to help you trim the budget and get things into the budget that you need. But we have to talk about it now so I can get you a 2026 proposal. So look, I'm going to export this whole, actually, I'm going to fast forward it here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to go ahead and export this. And I'm going to call this the 2026 budget. Look, you're done.
This step right here is really powerful, especially right now at this time of year. What Adam is showing you is a way to send your clients a budget. All right. It's not a quote. All right. And we get easy numbers in here. We're setting expectations. But right now, you can send them the budget for 2026. All right. There are some organizations that are just now starting their budget process. All right. But every business is already starting to think about 2026. If you're leading the edge and say, hey, this is our IT budget right now for 2026, I want you to have this as you sit down and start working on your budget. As Adam has mentioned many times, budgeting and money allocation lots of times is a first come, first serve sort of process. Yeah. So if you're sending budgets to your clients right now in September of 2025, for 2026, you're going to be in that early group that is getting allocation of funds. So now, even if it's not right, and I would say if it's not right, all the better, okay? Because then you'll be able to discuss it with your clients. You collaborate on that budget. And once they see that, and when you bring them into the process, they get bought in. And so once that budget looks good, and they go into their internal budget meetings, they're actually advocating for this budget. They're carrying that to the table saying, hey, this is the IT budget I want. It's not the IT budget that you're recommending because they've put some effort into it. It's their IT budget. And they're really going to push for that. They're going to make sure that they get the funds allocated. So you want that going right now.
Yeah. First person to get their hand out is the first person to get paid. Think of it like that.
Yeah. And
that's why in internal IT, we know as a CIO, you don't drag your feet on your budget.
I know. No, not at all.
I want to get my budget in front of the CEO before the rest of the department heads do.
Yes.
I want him to be thinking about all the things that we're going to accomplish for the organization. I want her to be thinking about, yeah, if we get that done, we're going to streamline ticket management. We're going to be streamlining timesheets, and that's going to save me 600 man hours a year. Oh, I really want that.
Yeah.
Versus being the last person to the table and being like, yeah, I forgot to tell you about this ticketing system I wanted to get in place to record timesheets. It'll save us about 600 man hours a year. Now your CEO is going like, yeah, that'd have been great to know. I already allocated funds to Alice here.
Yep.
And she's going to be building this thing for us this year, and I really can't dip into that budget at all. So let's go ahead and push this to 2027.
Yep.
This few months here, we're now thinking on yearly terms here. So when you get to the table first in October and you hand them the IT budget for 2026, even if it's a small company, especially if it's a small company.
Yes,
Hey,
absolutely.
look, for $50,000 next year, for $80,000 next year, for $20,000 next year, here's what we're going to do for you throughout the entire year.
Mhm.
Now they're thinking, oh, wait, I can do that. Like right now, I'm thinking about my conference schedule next year. So where's Humanized IT going to go? Who wants money?
Yeah.
So I'm going through and I'm figuring out my budget and I'm thinking, okay, I can afford to do this one. I know I can afford to that one. But then I'm going to get a couple calls here, like a month ahead of time saying, hey, come to our conference. It's only $40,000. I'm like, I allocated my money to another person. Sorry.
Yep. That's it. Well, and on those budget amounts, I've seen this so many times personally, and I feel that it's a real gem that gets missed so many times. It's not so much the cost, but it's when the cash has to go out.
Yeah.
And so when you're looking at things and you talk to a client and they heard a number and like, oh, wow, that's really kind of pricey. All right. Many times it can be in light of the current cash flow in the organization. And there aren't many businesses that have just a completely flat cash flow throughout the year. Almost every business has some sort of ebb and flow to that. And sometimes sitting down with your clients and going, hey, here's our rough estimate on this. When would be the best time that we could do this? And that changes the conversation completely, because you may have had it in Q1 and they're like, we're broke in Q1. And so their answer to that is just a flat no, right? But if you can open it up to when they're like, we have most of our revenue comes in Q3, that shouldn't be a problem. Let's do it then, all right? And you've easily taken a conversation that would have been a hard no and now turned it into a easy yes. And you're not debating and immediately starting to cut your price and dive into your margin on this, because you matched up the expense with their cash flow. What worked well for them. So now is the maybe we ought to count it up. We've said it, I think, several times in this one. Now is the time to do this.
Yes, now is the time. And I just kind of keep impressing. That's why we have this reminder every year. We've been doing this reminder every year. When do you need to get things done now? If we don't remind ourselves, I'll forget to have this session. And they'll come to October. Oh, crap, we forgot to remind people, because you scheduled today for your meetings in October. Let's have this meeting in October. If you say, hey, do you have time next week? Most of your clients can be like, it's tight. If you say, hey, do you have time in October? You're guaranteeing a spot in October to talk about budgeting, export it from our software, throw it in front of the client, and negotiate at that point. And then next year, your salespeople will thank you because everything's pre-approved or in boxes already. We just want to make sure that everybody's understanding that this is where we need to be.
Yep, that's it.
Set the table so you can be successful. All right, everyone. Thanks for coming on this week. I'm trying to look and see what's next week. Next week was something interesting. I was like, ooh, we can skip forward. Oh yeah, strategy meets budgets. Be an example for your customers. So one of the things about getting into your customers in October is I can tell you for a fact, as a professional from a corporate standpoint, is that a lot of small businesses don't budget plan until December or January, if at all.
Yep.
That's so right. When you come to them and set the table in October, they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I need to be more like them. Now you just ratcheted it up in perceived value as a business advisor to your clients. You are now resetting how they see you, because now you're coming to them with an activity they wish they could be. They want to be like you. They want to be this on the ball. So we're going to talk about that next week, about being an example for your customers during this budgetary season.
That's going to be really good.
All right. Thanks to Skip for coming on, and we'll see you all next week.
See ya.